Hi and welcome along to AFTV. We are here for our preview of the game, FC Zurich versus Arsenal. We are back in Europe, not really the one we wanted to be in. No. But listen, it's better than nothing. Because I'll tell you what, I'm going to be straight with you. I missed European football last year.
Yeah,
I missed it. You know the thing I was reflecting on, right, is that I remember back in the day when we used to be in the Champions League, right? And a lot of times we'd have games, maybe we'd lose, like we lost to Bayern and things like that, and fans would be coming out and going, oh, you know what, I'd rather us not even be in it, right? We're not in that, that's number one.
Yeah.
Then now he's in the Europa League and that now we'd be playing games and stuff like that, and then people would be like, you know what, I'd rather us not be in it and we just play, you know.
Focus on the league.
Just focus on the league.
Yeah.
Now we've had both of those scenarios, and I can tell you, for me personally, last season, I missed European football. Even Europa League is better than not playing in anything. So it's back.
Yeah.
It's back. The Europa League is back, and I think we've been given a very favourable group. Our group that we've thrown up, Bodo Glimt, who I don't know a lot about. PSV Eindhoven, decent team, but very winnable. And this game, FC Zurich, as the first game in Switzerland, away from home. Again, I have to be real, I don't know a lot about them, but that is the team that we face on Thursday night.
Yep, that's the opening game. That's the return to European football. And I'm with you. Last year I missed it a little bit. Listen, it's not... I do think the group stage is a little bit of a slog. That's not to disrespect it. You still got to work hard to get through it. Leicester didn't get through their group and dropped into the conference. And look what they were doing in the years before. So... it's not just a given. You'd expect Arsenal, though, to get through it fairly unscathed. But when it gets to that later... I looked at West Ham and their run last season. And I mean this with all due respect to West Ham and West Ham fans. Obviously, they haven't been in Europe as much as Arsenal, so they were sort of caught up in the hype of it, and rightly so. But that's actually the same for Arsenal in later rounds. When it is getting to that quarters and semis, it's that same hype. I remember the Atletico Madrid game. I remember some of the other semi-finals, Valencia. You realise that there's a trophy on the line that, A, carries a little bit of weight in its own right, but also is a passage to the Champions League. So, this is one that I think now we're kind of like... the Europa League, okay, and yes, we want to be in the Champions League, but for where this young team is, it can be a really good opportunity for silverware.
And also for the fans, right? Remember, this is the first time for the fans, for 2 seasons actually, that because remember, previous to that, you had COVID. So this is sort of like the first time we're traveling.
Very good point.
It's a bit of a wake-up call as well as a fan. Like even the other day when I was looking at the prices to go to these trips, they are through the roof now. Because number one, so many people are looking to go out there. Number two, because of COVID, because of the, we've seen it throughout the summer, airlines having to cut back on the amount of flights because they don't have the staff at the airports and that. Flights and everything are way more expensive as well. But fans all of a sudden are interested to go to somewhere like a Zurich in Switzerland where Arsenal haven't been. I remember the last time I was out there was when we played Basel.
Yeah.
And that was quite a few years ago. So... It's going to be really, really interesting, and like you said, an opportunity for the players to really, some of these players who last season just sat on the fringes for the whole season, an opportunity for them to play. Now, I don't know much about FC Zurich. So what do you know? Give me some information.
Look, I'd be lying to you myself if I said I was an expert, but that's the beauty of Google and research. And what I know is that they were league champions last year. This year, however, drawn 2 and lost 5 of their 7 games. So it's a massive...
Second from bottom in their league, I saw.
I mean, that's a massive swing. When you look at it, it looked like they lost a guy. I had the name. Look, they lost Gnonto to Leeds. He was a young player. Someone getting minutes for Italy in the summer. But they had another guy called Cisse, who I think scored 20 league goals for them last season. So, you lose a good youngster. I don't know how much of a part he played, to be fair, in their league campaign. But the guy who scored 20 goals for them last season, in the season before, that's going to have an impact. But 2 draws and 5 defeats is poor. Having said that, you look at their last 5 games, in which 3 of them were 2 Europa League games, I think qualifiers obviously to get to this stage, and a cup game. They've won 3 of their last 2. Their last 2 games were defeats, both at home as well, including Basel, who, as you mentioned, Arsenal have had some history with as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're not going in confident or in good form whatsoever, maybe just adjusting to some of the outgoings as well. So there's an opportunity here for Arsenal. I've been hearing that we're going with a strong team. So, yeah, there's an opportunity here.
But we can't take no team in Europe lightly. You can ask Thomas Tuchel. And he'll be able to fill you in on that. Do not take any team lightly. Had to get that in, you know what I mean? But who's the player that we got to look and say, who's their danger player? Who's the player we have to watch out for?
Well, I think it's a guy called, I'm going to try to pronounce as best as possible, Eoghan Tosin. He's got 3 goals in the Swiss Cup this year. They've got a left wing back called Adrian Guerrero as well. I'm keeping an eye on. He's a former Valencia left wing back, left winger. And I'm going to be really frank. I went on Transfermarkt and look at their most valuable players. So look, they've clearly. You look at from the guy who they sold and Gnonto as well. They've clearly got some talented players, but they're just not fit and firing at the moment. That Tosin guy is a striker though, so we'll see how Arsenal handle that. But I think a lot of this will be about what Arsenal do and who our key players are on the day. And the two I'm looking at, or the one in particular, is Fabio Vieira. I was going to mention Marquinhos as well because we think we might see him get some game time. But Fabio Vieira's, I think, cameo in the Man United game was very impressive. I've got some of his numbers here. In 16 minutes, 21 touches, 2 successful dribbles and 2 of his duels won. He got stuck in very early, created that chance that McTominay did well to clear. So he showed a little bit of something as well.
I like the look of him. He looks sharp.
He does look sharp. So I think on the Zurich side and the Arsenal side, we're going to learn quite a lot from this game. Even if we do go strong, I think there's going to be a couple of players we're going to learn a lot about.
Yeah, you know what? Just going back to Fabio Vieira, I like the look of him when he came on.
Yeah.
Because I saw the game previously that he played for the under-23s, and you could see that was a player that, was just feeling his way through that game. But when he came on against Manchester United, all right, I know probably the game's already more or less dead by then, but he looked sharp, he looked at it. And I was like, wow, like the look of him. Really looking forward to seeing more of him. And this is one of the things about the Europa League, especially in these early rounds, it throws up the opportunity for somebody like him to go and prove himself and show what he can do and, push himself through into that first team. And remember, we paid over 30 million, 31.5 million pound for this guy. He's come in as a hot prospect. I've seen him being described as the new Bernardo Silva and things like that. I know, when I was doing Transfer Daily, that Porto were a bit peed off that they sold him for so cheap.
Yeah.
So I think, we haven't seen, he's one of the signings that we've got that we ain't seen anything really off so far. And I'm so excited to see him play in particular. Yeah,
well, but what's so funny about the Fabio Vieira thing, in the way we sort of forget about him a little bit when we're talking about adding a midfielder or depth for
we all forget about him.
We do forget about him. And what's interesting is, when we were trying to sign Douglas Luiz on deadline day, I was thinking, 25 million, I'm not sure, that's quite a bit. And then you link to Tielemans, well, Arsenal won't go above 25. Well, pay 34 for Fabio Vieira. So they must really rate him. Yeah. Really, really rate him, because that's a significant outlay on a player that didn't feel necessity. But clearly they think he's super talented and maybe can cover in quite a few areas like central midfield and out on the wing. So we've got to think that cameo against Man United is just the start of what's to come, because spend a lot of money, there's a lot of hype around him, and he is 21, he's got to he has to deliver, a little bit now. So I'm excited. I'm very excited to see him.
Very excited. Another player that I've got an inkling could play, is Marquinhos. Now, another guy who's played in the under-23s. Now, we were all sort of thinking to ourselves that he was going to be bought in. Remember, they paid just over 3 million for him. Bought in and probably immediately loaned out to some team in Europe where he can go and get minutes and learn his trade to come back to Arsenal a little bit later on. But a bit like in the case of Gabriel Martinelli, they've looked at him and said, no, you know what, this guy, he looks like he's got something about him. We can throw him in now. Certainly, the people who've been watching the under-23 games think he's too good for that level.
Yeah.
I'm going to be excited to see him. He's quick, he's strong,
Yeah.
I'm excited to see him as well.
And maybe why Arsenal were so happy to ultimately let Pepe go out on loan. Pepe was a player who thrived in these Europa League group stage games, and really it was too easy for Pepe. And Marquinhos, I think, is that kind of player that, again, a bit like Fabio Vieira, okay, not the price tag to go with it, but we kind of forget. I'll be honest, I brush it off. Whenever I think of the summer, I think, oh, well, we got Zinchenko, Vieira, Jesus. Well, that's not true. We've got Marquinhos as well and Matt Turner. Turner, someone we might see. We'll discuss that in the Predicted 11 video. But with Marquinhos, when I saw him in pre-season, I don't think he did anything that wowed me, but I didn't think he looked out of his depth at all. He looked strong, as you mentioned. He looks quite a stocky player. And he is a bit of a like-for-like for Pepe, left-footed right winger who can play on both sides as well. So this will be very interesting. If there's one success story to come out of the group stage games, it's Marquinhos to show that actually he's really got something about him, and we don't have to feel we've got to put everything on Saka like we have done the last couple of years. So yeah, I'm watching him too.
Expect a lot of players to get rested because, you know, especially after a really tough game at the weekend against Man United. Sunday, remember as well, late kickoff. And now we're back into that mode. Thursday, Sunday. And not only that, there's loads of games from now till the end of October because they basically crammed all these games in because of the World Cup this year. So it's literally every week relentless.
Yeah.
So these guys are going to get a lot of game time. And, you know, the squad is going to be really tested here. And one of the interesting things is seeing already the amount of injuries into, you know, Partey, El Neni would have been going back to Switzerland, of course. Quite a few first teamers may have to figure in this game.
Yeah, well, I mean, Partey and Neni are the two that a lot of us are talking about for obvious reasons. You know, Lokonga filling into the six. The two I wanted to highlight were Reece Nelson, Emil Smith-Rowe. Again, Nelson, another player we kind of forgot about. Now we've known for a while.
Injured though, both injured.
Well, we've known for a while that he's got this long-term injury, Reece Nelson, which is a real shame. But again, one that might come back in the next 3-4 weeks or whatever, will be contributing to this. And Emil Smith-Rowe, who, according to David Ornstein, had some sort of discomfort, injury, seemed to be talking to Carlos Cuesta in the warm down after Man United. So he's looking a doubt as well. And those are two those are two players that would have really played quite a bit in these group stage games. And I think Smith-Rowe needed it for momentum again. When he comes on, he doesn't look quite at it. So I think he'd have needed. So it's a real shame that he's not going to be involved. But you're right. The likes of Eddie Nketiah, Tomiyasu, Cedric, Kieran Tierney, and with Tomiyasu and Tierney, we were talking about as completely irreplaceable last year. Cedric was getting a lot of game time last year. You know, Rob Holding, you imagine as well. Who else have we got in there? I mean, other than that, you mentioned
Eddie Nketiah.
Yeah, Nketiah. So there's a few. But there's not like a whole 11 that you could just rotate in, and part of that's down to injuries, but part of that is down to, again, Arteta opting for a slightly thinner squad. We don't have the likes of Norton Cuffy, Patino, they're all out on loan. So the first team are going to be, or the first team squad, that 16-17 Arteta trusts, they're going to have to really be pushed, you know, through these at least first 3 or 4, almost get the job done, and then see if your Azizes and all them can maybe get minutes.
Well, no, Aziz has gone on loan as well.
Oh my God, he has.
Remember, he's over in Ibiza.
Balogun, he is. Yeah, not a bad place, is it? I'll tell you what, if there was,
I mean, it's really thin. You know, I mean, there's most Balogun, of those really, Balogun, they're all gone. So, we really are going to see a lot of these players who also feature in the first team getting games. And I'm interested to see what Arteta's tactics are going to be in that. Is it go and get it done early? Go and beat, you know, Zurich, Bodo, Glimt, you know, say win your first 3 games, and after that, you know, you only got to like win 1 more and you're through. So get it done early, because later on in October, that's when a lot of those tough games are coming up, innit? Liverpool, Spurs, you know, the Man City. So get it done early, so you know, you don't have to put it all on the line on a Europa League game and then have to face, say, City after that.
I think that's 100% the game plan from Arteta. I think he's going to go with I think, for example, Eddie for Jesus, maybe. Again, we're going to do a Predicted 11 video, but I think he's going to go largely quite strong, because when you look at it, and you're absolutely spot on, okay, Zurich away, then Everton at home, then PSV at home, followed by Brentford away. So there's not a lot of travel for a good a good week there between the Everton home game and the Brentford away game. Then the big break before Tottenham at home, which again is in London, Bodo Glimt at home, Liverpool at home, and then Bodo Glimt away. So it's not till the 13th of October.
And I think those games have been kind. I mean, those Bodo Glimt games have been a bit kind to us because they come in between big games against City and against also against Tottenham.
Yeah, Leeds.
And
yeah,
you can
City.
rest players if basically get those first 3 games done. But Bodo Glimt and Zurich, we should be able to get that. I think we win. Tomorrow night. We win on Thursday night. We win against PSV. Beat Bodo Glimt. We're almost there.
You'd hope so.
Yeah.
And as we mentioned, that Bodo Glimt. That Bodo Glimt game you mentioned, 6th of October, then it's not till the week after, on the 13th, that then Arsenal really have to worry about travel again. They're going to be doing everything in and around London. So that is a factor. When we talk about these things, it is getting them on a plane, it's getting them there. I know they fly in, first class.
I know people always say that. But listen, I've been abroad and I've seen an Arsenal plane with all the players on it stuck on the runway for about 3-4 hours because it couldn't take off because it was foggy.
Right, yeah.
And those things have an effect. It doesn't matter if you're in first class or business class or whatever.
Yeah.
It still has an effect. It's still travel time. Going to somewhere like Bodo Glimt in Norway, that's a long trip. All right, Switzerland's not a long trip. It does have an effect. But I think the draw's been kind to us.
I think,
this first stage.
And the fixture allocation,
So, predictions?
Ooh, forget we do this. I went for 2-0 forever Arsenal. I'll stick with it because even if Arsenal do go... Listen, firstly, I don't think it'll be easy. They'll be really up for it. And if Arsenal actually do override that and completely play their football, I think Arteta will just say, we don't need to hammer them. But I am expecting a tough game, I will say that. So, or at least a workout. So I'm going to go 2-0 Arsenal. What about you?
I think it's going to be a tough game in the fact that, it's the biggest game probably for years and years for Zurich. They've even moved it to a different stadium in St. Gallen outside of Zurich to accommodate that. So it's going to be a huge game for them.
Yeah.
But I look at their record at the moment. They've got off to a horrific start. They've lost their best players. I expect them to come and really put it in. But Arsenal to win this one. I think someone like Eddie Nketiah is going to be rubbing his hands in this game. I'm going to go for Arsenal. Maybe we could concede because of the fact that we're going to make so many changes at the back, but 3-4-1 for me.
Yeah, and what I would say is, they won it last year, and one thing we know is that young boys, Basel, they've had their moments in European football. Basel's
young
never
boys
been.
Remember they beat Tottenham that time?
Did Man United? We're going like 12, 13 years back, but did Man United drop points at Basel in the group and drop into the Europa League?
I think something like that.
Or get knocked out of the group.
Basel used to be a good team. That's where we got El Neni from.
Mo Salah came from Basel. So what I'd always say is Zurich a year ago were champions, so they've got to have something about them despite losing.
You've got to give them respect, but look at where they are at the moment. And they played 7 games. It's not like they played 2 games.
Exactly.
7, they're at the bottom. Come on, Arsenal, top of the league in the Premier League, supposed to go there and smoke them.
Go flex,
So I'm going 3-4-1 to Arsenal. What do you guys think? Would like to get your predictions. I know you might not know much about FC Zurich, or maybe you're an FC Zurich fan. Tell us what to expect. But looking forward to the game. Don't forget, we're going to be having it all covered here on AFTV, so make sure you check it out. Subscribe to the channel so you get all of your notifications. But it is our first game in the Europa League for a couple of years. Arsenal visiting FC Zurich. Shop for AFTV merch at shop.aftv.co.uk. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, and Twitch. We've got content for every platform, so check it out.